So, welcome into Studio 9. I'm Ahmad Hicks alongside Henry Lake. We're doing something new right now for all of our listeners and our viewers. We're starting a new podcast. The name is still under construction, to be announced. We'll have that in later episodes. But, Lake, I appreciate you taking the time to not only join me weekly, but to do something new on your already busy schedule.
This is going to be amazing because the studio is amazing. Fox 9 is doing it big. Oh, my gosh.
I mean, look at this. Look at the studio, right?
This is pretty dope.
This is a podcast
This
studio.
is as nice as being, like, on the set.
Right.
We are on the set right now.
I wish I could rent this out for my own personal use, times away from work. But nonetheless,
you and me both.
We'll make this work, and it's going to work for us. And I think the first thing that we need to talk about, the WNBA and the Lynx. The Lynx have been one of the hottest teams in the W all season. Last night had a chance to bring in $500,000 as a team and split it up amongst the players. But the Indiana Fever, without Caitlin Clark, came in and handed it to the Lynx. What are your thoughts on that, Lake?
Well, I feel like the Lynx played last night like a team that thought that they already had the bag.
Yeah.
Like Courtney Williams,
bulletin board material.
40,000. Can't wait to get my, you can't do that.
No.
Like you cannot go into a game being distracted by the money. And look, I get it. It's professional sports. NBA players, same thing. When they're playing for it, midseason, they're going to think about the money. Everybody's talked about the money. But they played like a team that was distracted last night. And I know that early on they jumped out to a lead, but then after that, they just could not find themselves.
They couldn't throw it in the ocean if they were standing on the beach. I mean, it was just like wide open shots. It's like, but the one thing I will say about this team, they have the pieces to contend for a title this season.
For sure.
We have seen them, play down to their opponents and take some losses. Only their third loss this season, but still, I think they need Courtney Williams and they need Kayla McBride to be a little bit more consistent, I feel like.
Yeah, well, a couple of issues. I thought that Fee was brutal last night. She was not MVP Fee, right? She was not that. She is right now, to this specific point in the season, I think that most people would have her as the MVP of the league.
For sure.
She didn't play well last night.
No, she didn't.
Like she not only didn't play well, she played horrible.
Right.
You add in and factor in that Kayla McBride played bad too. There were just too many players that didn't bring their A game. I thought that Alana Smith, for other reasons, she's like my favorite member of the Minnesota Lynx. She's phenomenal. She played well last night.
Hitting threes and everything.
But she got no help.
I know.
And one of the things, and I'm glad you brought up Kayla McBride, I have a little bit of an issue with Kayla because I love Kayla McBride, but she can get sped up.
Yes, she can.
And when she gets sped up, it's not good.
Right.
It does not look good at all. She ends up flailing and throwing up these layups that have no chance of going in. And last night you saw a little bit of that.
I thought that same thing last night too. And I was like, she could just benefit from one extra dribble when she's going to the basket. Because sometimes I think she picks up, she gathers too early, and then she's just throwing the ball at the rim. And it's like not even a contested shot. One other note about that game last night, I'm pretty sure you saw halftime performer, Red Panda, took a spill. She fell, had to be wheelchaired off the court. She was holding her wrist. I mean, just tell me from your experiences.
Did you see the spill?
Yes, I saw it.
All right,
It was on social media,
so this is how much I love Red Panda. And everybody loves Red Panda.
Everybody.
Like, who doesn't love her?
Right.
I won't watch the spill. Like I'm the guy that's on X, Twitter, whatever you want to call it. I'm avoiding that part. I saw the part where she's walking off and then she had to stop and then, but I won't watch the actual spill because I'm like I don't.
I had to watch it. I had to see what happened. I had to see how bad it was.
Yeah.
Wasn't as bad as I thought. Like when I first saw it on X and whatnot, but still, nonetheless, you never see her take spills. So that was a very rare occurrence last night, just like the Lynx performance.
Like she's treated like she's an icon. Like
she is an icon here in Minnesota.
Legend.
Every time you hear Red Panda coming out of halftime, you're like, all right, I'm not going to get any snacks.
The post-game social media, Caitlin Clark is jumping in on Sid Colson's
on her
TikTok
IG live,
and was like, Red Panda, yes.
And then Sid Colson came out and said, I don't think she's watching my stuff.
Yeah, exactly,
So,
exactly. So.
All right, so that's wrapping up our topic number #1 with the Lynx, the WNBA. A lot of exciting stuff to happen with that moving forward. I'm sure we'll be talking about the Lynx all summer long. Now let's talk about the NBA. It just wrapped up. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander not only won the MVP, he went out and won the NBA Finals, the Finals MVP, and then my man came back and got a 4-year, $285 million contract extension. I think it's warranted. But I also think with it being warranted, this is going to be the downfall of the Thunder in 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, but he is the guy that everything revolves around him.
Absolutely.
Like there's going to be pieces that will move around.
Right.
But he's the center of it. So they had to do it.
$71 million a year?
But that's where the NBA is going. The Supermax, same thing's going to happen with Ant.
That's true.
Like Ant's going to be that centerpiece, and everything's going to revolve around him. We've already seen Cat get ushered out. So with OKC, there will be some pieces that will move away in the next year or two. But I think that the two guys that are untouchables for them is Shai and Jalen.
Yeah, for sure. And did you see that he came out? He's having wrist surgery. Sam Presti just came out and announced that. And he was playing through that before the playoffs even started. So let me ask you this question, because we're in Minnesota. We're in Timberwolves country. What do the Timberwolves need to do in order to close that gap with the Thunder?
Ooh, that's a great question.
Because I think the Timberwolves slept on them last year. When I spoke to several people close to the team, they were like, "Oh, OKC's not ready. They haven't been here before."
Well, as a Wolves fan and as a media member like yourself that covers the team, and I'm a season ticket holder, I was frustrated when I watched how well they played against OKC.
Right.
Like, how do the Wolves just win one game? You're supposed to do much better than that. So with all that being said, though, back to your question about what do they need to do to kind of, eliminate how big the gap is, we got to get more scoring from the guard position. And I think that the development of Rob Dillingham is going to be key. He is, because
we got to debate about that.
He's got some shiftiness in his game that a lot of NBA cats don't have. And he can finish, he can, dunk, and he can fly in. He can do a lot of different things. But he is going to have to be integrated into the Timberwolves' plans this season. It can't be just a Mike Conley.
Right.
No, Rob's got to play this year.
Here's my thing, though, about Rob, all right? One, I feel like it takes him too many dribbles to get to a spot sometimes. Way too many dribbles. You got to be more efficient with less dribbles. Secondly, as Kevin Durant talked about on his podcast or a podcast the other day, the 6'1" guard is not as valuable anymore, because if you can't defend, you're getting picked on every single possession down the court, especially in the playoffs when it matters. So my thing is, how does Rob Dillingham play in the final 6 minutes of a game when it's a close game?
They're going to have to find a way. Like you've got Rudy Gobert, who's had numerous, Defensive Player of the Year awards. You know that Ant can defend. Julius Randle, when he wants to, can defend a little bit. Other guys are going to have to kind of shore up the weakness that could be his deficiencies on defense. But the bottom line is that when you look at him and what they've invested in Rob Dillingham, they got to utilize that guy because he's got some physical traits and talents and quickness and stuff like that they can, kind of take advantage of, especially his scoring ability and being able to shoot. They're going to have to do a good job with him. He's too talented a player for them not to play him. And with regards to what you were talking about in terms of like the things that he, the dribbling and all that stuff, some of that's experience.
It is.
Some of that's experience.
I think Terrence Shannon Jr. will find a way into the rotation quite a bit next season. I think them letting Nickeil Alexander walk was a big reason because they had Terrence Shannon Jr.
Shout out to him. He got a bag.
And what he did, get a bag. Yeah, 4 years, $60+ million. I think Terrence Shannon Jr. will be that second coming of like, hey, this is our next superstar that we have here in Minnesota. Love Rob Dillingham and what he can do at point guard, but I just think Terrence Shannon Jr. is a 3-level scorer. He can score from outside in the mid-range game, and he can finish at the basket. But my thing is, I think they lost a little bit of defensive prowessness, like with Nickeil Alexander-Walker.
Absolutely.
So now you're talking about, yes, Anthony Edwards can defend, but when he's asked to score at a high level, my man doesn't have gas to defend for 48 minutes a game. So where do they go defensively? Because this is a team that hangs their head on their defense.
Yeah, I mean, losing Na is a big deal from the standpoint that he could do everything.
Right.
And he never was a guy that, tried to do things that he couldn't do. Like, he knew his role and he knew his limitations, right? He knows that he can knock down that corner three.
Yeah.
He knows that when it comes to picking up and guarding people, That's what he does well. He knew how to get other guys the basketball in their spots. So to think that we're just overnight going to replace that, I don't think that that's possible. But it's incumbent on other guys to get better. Like, you don't give Nas a bag and don't expect him to raise his level.
That's a fact. That's a fact. Because he has to go to the next level.
He has to.
He too many times in the playoffs where he's not showing up. And I think for the
disappeared.
Timberwolves to be a final contending team, Nasri has to be consistent. Anthony Edwards has to be consistent offensively. And then you got to get more from that point guard position. And Jaden McDaniels, too. I mean, because Anthony Edwards told those three after last season and they lost to the Dallas Mavericks. He said, look, if we want to go further, it's on me, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, and Naz Reid.
Well, Jaden McDaniels is the best defensive player on the team.
He is.
Outside of Rudy. Rudy's phenomenal too, but like Jaden, and I agree with Ant. Anthony Edwards said it in the postseason. He's like, it's robbery that Jaden McDaniels didn't make all defensive team. Like, he had to have made one of those teams.
Right.
So for him to not do that, that just makes no sense to me. So I think that solves some of the issues too, knowing that you got long, athletic guys that are still there.
I got to ask you a question. Do you feel like the Wolves mismanaged Luka Garza with the way that Rudy Gobert lacks offensive talent? I just feel like Luka Garza didn't get enough opportunity. He always scored when he got in the game in garbage time. I feel like he should have just gotten the opportunity to score because I feel like he can do so much more offensively than Rudy.
I agree with you on Luka Garza. I'm bummed that he's no longer with the team.
Headed to the Boston Celtics,
and he didn't get a lot of money. Like, he didn't
2 years, $5.5 million.
Yeah, it was a 2 point.
2 years, $5.5 million.
Yeah, that's not a lot of money at all.
It's not at all. Josh Minot also went to the Boston Celtics.
Yeah,
too.
they could. He ended up with the Celtics. Okay, I didn't know that.
Same year, I think it's like 2 years, $5 million.
Okay, so losing Luka is a bigger deal than losing Josh.
Agreed.
But when you look at things with regards to Luka, though, I think that they just looked at him and they said, "Look, quite frankly, you're not athletic enough, and you're a garbage time guy, and we're gonna need." Other guys at that position to step up. But now I'm with you, though, because, look, we all love great individuals.
Yeah.
We love great stories. We like good human beings. Joe Ingles, come on. I don't. What are we doing? Like, seriously, what are we doing here? I just don't get that.
I get the locker room vibe check.
I do too, but it's not enough.
I would have rather
Kendrick Lamar, it's not enough.
I knew you were going to bring up Kendrick at some point. I would have loved to see them keep Luka over Joe.
Without question. They can sit there and they can talk all this stuff about, locker room this, locker room. I mean, is Luka Garza a locker room cancer? And I get the veteran presence. Right. I totally get that. But Mike Conley's on the team.
It's very true.
I don't. The Ingles thing. It just, to me, I think that they're overplaying what he means to the team.
Right, because this is only his first year with the team. Right.
Yeah, it's like, what?
I think the only reason they let Luka Garza go, too, because of what they did in the draft by bringing in Joan Berenger,
Yep.
and then also Rocco Zakarsky. So I think you got a 7'3" guy, 6'10" guy. They're like, all right, our bigs are a little expendable. So hate to see Luka go, but we wish him nothing but the best moving forward. Now I want to get your thoughts on Dallas and Houston. Everyone had the Wolves in the way too early rankings as the number 2 team in the Western Conference. Okay. But Kevin Durant, now he's headed over to Houston. You got Cooper Flagg headed to Dallas. Look at these two teams. Are they not the favorites in the Western Conference?
Houston's going to be good. They've added some pieces, and KD most notably.
And they were right there with the Warriors this past season.
And see, the thing about it is that they just jump up so much in terms of the rankings because Jalen Green just was non-existent in the postseason.
Only had one good game versus the Warriors.
And you add KD. So, I'm looking at that. Dylan Brooks, who cares?
Right.
Houston's going to be really, really good. When I look at the West, I got to be honest with you, Dallas is going to be really good too.
Yeah,
especially when they get Kyrie back. Houston's going to be good. The Wolves will be good. Of course, OKC is still the one. But I think that those would have to be the top teams. I know that people will look at the Clippers. Something's not right with the Clippers. I'm not.
They'll be irrelevant.
I'm not vibing with them.
A game 7 will take them out with James Harden.
The team that I know people think will find a way. I just don't believe in the Lakers. And I said this 3 years ago. And I stand by this. LeBron James will not win another ring.
I said that too.
He won't. It's not happening.
It takes too much. He's making too much money. $53 million a year. Luka Doncic also making a bag.
They don't have
$40 million
enough
a year. It's not enough
Who's
money
their
to
big?
go around. They don't have one right now.
They don't have one. And if they think about picking up the phone and calling DeAndre Ayton,
that's trash too.
I mean, he's a cancer.
Yeah. I agree with you. I think another team that you didn't mention, the Denver Nuggets. I feel like they just traded away Michael Porter Jr. They just brought in Cameron Johnson. He's a good three-level scorer. And then you also they brought in what's his name? Gary Brown from a couple of years ago.
Bruce. Yep.
Yes. They just brought him back.
Yep.
And so I think that was a big addition for them because when he left, I was like, they're gonna miss him. Like he was athletic. He got downhill. He really helped out Jamal.
But you know
Murray.
who else was on that championship team that we don't talk about that much?
Kentavious Caldwell-Pope.
Yes.
Yep. Mm-hmm. And the way he defends and shoots the ball.
KCP.
Yep. They missed him. So, but I'm not rooting for Denver to get any more pieces because I mean that just makes the West even more loaded and the Wolves' chances harder to get back to the finals. All right, let's talk a little baseball. This is your sport now. Before we touch base on the Twins, I want to talk about the LA Dodgers. Shohei Ohtani, everyone knows box office numbers, everything that he does. You just want to watch TV when he plays.
Yep.
But the Dodgers have 8 guys up to make the All-Star game this year. Mind you, there's only 9 starters in baseball. What are your thoughts on that? Has the fan voting gone overboard?
It's always been overboard.
Right.
Like, I was in Kansas City when the Royals were good, 14 and 15, and they were voting Omar Infante. I mean, I'm like, what? And they were like, stuff the ballot, I'm like, no, I'm not rooting for that. They calling the show. I'm like, no, I can't sit here and say that. I think that the 2 starters for sure have to be Mookie and Shohei.
Absolutely. Shohei's already penciled in.
Yeah.
He's the number 1 vote getter.
Yeah. So when you look at it, to me, when you look at Mookie and Shohei, they are just 2 of the best in the game.
Yeah.
Outside of that, of course, there's going to be other bench players, but we'll see how it happens.
I still can't believe the Boston Red Sox got rid of Mookie Cooper.
I can't either.
That's ridiculous, and the return that they got for him is wild. But let's talk Twins baseball now. 40 and 45 just dropped the game last night to the Miami Marlins. Royce Lewis activated off the injury list. Yes, it was a pitcher's duel. Do the Twins even have a shot to make the playoffs this year?
Oh yeah, for sure.
Third in the AL Central now.
I definitely believe they have a shot. I mean, they're not playing great right now. They're not playing terrible like they were a couple weeks ago. But I think that they'll pick it up here, hopefully before we head into the All-Star break, which starts
July 10, July 15.
Yeah, yep. And so that happens. Then coming out of the break, you're facing the Colorado Rockies, who are terrible. Now, if you go to Colorado and you lose a series with the Rockies, then I'm gonna have a lot of questions. I think that a lot of it just has to do with the fact that other guys got to get on Byron Buxton's level.
Man, he's playing good this year.
Yeah, he's playing out of his mind.
Yeah,
like he's
in
been
the field
phenomenal.
at the plate.
Wood, he doesn't, get.
Yeah, I know,
But I don't think that you could look at being a Twins fan and feel like Royce Lewis is dependable. Like he's not.
I said that yesterday on air. I said whenever Royce Lewis returns, the next question is how long this time. Yeah, and you can't have that when you're a superstar player.
You see him rounding first yesterday?
I did.
I mean, there's no confidence in his running.
Why should there be?
Yeah.
2 hamstring injuries.
He's had a lot of leg injuries.
2 to 3 months.
Well, and he's had the torn ACLs and all that stuff. And I think that that's a concern, too.
For sure. So what do you do if you're the Twins, though, with Royce Lewis? Because when I said this on air yesterday, I said his availability is the only thing stopping him from being grouped together with the Anthony Edwards and a Justin Jefferson as being like the star in this town that you can depend on.
Yeah, I don't know that Royce can be viewed in that category or even get into that category anymore. And the reason why is because I just think that the injuries have taken a toll. When we watch him run the bases nowadays, it's just different.
Right.
And when you are scared and fearful of a guy running to first, getting injured, that's a heartbreaker. Yeah, it's a heartbreaker for Twins fans.
Well,
we love him.
We do.
And we hope that he's able to be injury free, but until he goes out there and he plays a half a season or the majority of a season, then it's there's a lot of question marks.
There is. All right, third in the Central right now for the Twins, 12 games behind Detroit. Got a lot of work to do, but it can still be done. A lot of baseball left to be played. So before we wrap up this first episode, we got to talk Vikings. I mean, the football season's right around the corner. Training camp opens July 26th for the Vikings. What are you expecting this year from the group? Because a lot of people say, in PFF, Pro Football Focus, saw an article come out the other day that said that J.J. McCarthy's ceiling is Joe Burrow. His floor is Sam Darnold.
His floor
is Sam Darnold.
Ooh,
I think they're talking about Sam Darnold before the Vikings.
Oh, okay. I was about to be like, what are we doing here?
14 wins, Sam.
Yeah, I really don't have true expectations to this point for JJ.
They ranked him the 29th quarterback in the NFL.
Oh, okay, which is good. I mean, don't put a lot on him early. Like, be the guy that is going to take care of the football, find his playmakers, but lean on the running game. That's how I view it going into year number one. But if he comes out and his guns blazing, then, man, the sky's the limit. I just don't know.
I don't know what, and that's why I said you can't compare him to anybody right now because we haven't seen him take an NFL snap in a regular season game. But if you look at the line in front of him, you got Will Fries that they just brought over and Ryan Kelly from Indianapolis, and they ran the football extremely well with Jonathan Taylor there. Two of the top tackles in Brian O'Neill, Christian Darrisaw already, and then you spend a first-round draft pick on a guard in Donovan Jackson. I think they are making sure that he succeeds. Then, not to mention, Josh Oliver, a blocking tight end, another extension of a tackle. You still got T.J. Hawkinson, then Jordan Addison, and then you still got Justin Jefferson. And Jalen Naylor put on some weight, and it looked like some speed this offseason. So I just feel like it would be on Kevin O'Connell if J.J. McCarthy fails this year. By asking him to do too much, because I feel like they have enough pieces around him to where he doesn't have to be the hero. He just has to be the facilitator. Yeah,
I'm not concerned about that, though, and the reason why, and you're on this team even more so than I am, Kevin O'Connell, he knows how to manage quarterbacks. He just knows how to, when we talk about in professional sports, not even professional sports, but just in sports in general, what is the coach's job? To put their players in the best position to be successful. He does that with his QBs.
He does.
He does not let them down. Do I think he's going to let JJ down with what they've invested in him? Of course not.
I don't think they will. And I think the reason why Kevin O'Connell is so good with his quarterbacks is because he was a quarterback who failed in the National Football League. He was a quarterback who felt like if he had a little bit more support, moral support from his coaches, he would have been able to succeed. And I think having gone through that, fail, now being on the other side, like, look, I know what I can get out of a quarterback. I know how to push their buttons to get them to go. So I think that's why the Vikings and J.J. McCarthy will be successful. But let's talk about the NFL landscape and as a whole. Obviously, the Kansas City Chiefs and the Philadelphia Eagles are still the favorite. How do you think the Vikings compare to those two Super Bowl contending teams?
Until we see JJ, I wouldn't compare them. Like Jalen Hurts is
on another planet right now.
Yeah, and he's going to end up in the Hall of Fame. Like that's
crazy.
That's how he's trending. Yeah. So it's funny because when that year in the draft, I was advocating that they take him possibly in that second round or third round, but he didn't make it to the third round.
I was a fan of him, but I never thought he would be what he is right now.
No, me neither. I'm not going to sit here.
I thought he had a problem reading defenses, progressing through his reads, but they're playing good football behind him right now.
He's amazing. I don't view right now the Vikings as a Super Bowl contender until I see JJ and he shows that he's up to the task. I do believe in the defense, though.
Yeah, for sure.
And, the defense can really be a situation and a unit that can pull, a rookie quarterback out of some bad spots.
I agree with you. And Brian Flores, I got to ask you a question, though, before we wrap this up about the NFC North. When you look at the quarterbacks, you look at the teams, you got Jared Goff, you got Jordan Love, and then you got Caleb Williams. It's a lot of talent from top to bottom in this division. And then you talk about just the teams that I feel like the Lions are going to take a step back because they lost Ben Johnson. Everyone's just like, oh, they got all these pieces. Like, the guy who calls the plays is the most important person on the team, I feel like, in an offense. Where do you rank the Vikings in the NFC North right now in the way too early season rankings?
I would probably, just based off of what we saw last year and what we know the teams are going to have going into this year, I would probably have the Vikings second behind Detroit.
Okay. I give you that.
Because you're right. Like, losing the offensive coordinator is a big deal, but man, Detroit got a lot of pieces.
They do, but they also lost a lot. Frank Ragnow.
Yeah, but they also had a bunch of people injured at the end of last year, too.
22 players on injured reserve, and they're all going to be back this year. It's going to be a fun season. My goodness, I can't wait. The football season is 4 weeks away, about 3.5, 4 weeks away from kicking off, and we'll be out at TCO every single day. Until then, I'm sure we'll have a couple more episodes that we'll dish out before the season starts, and hopefully we'll have a name for the next time that we tape an episode. Hopefully.
Are we going to get one in before I go to Summer League?
Yeah, absolutely. When do you leave for Summer League?
Next Thursday.
So, yeah, let's pencil one in for next Monday or something like that. All right? Like, that's our episode 1. Appreciate you, my brother.
All right.
We'll have more great content coming this way for you guys on Fox Local, YouTube, all the other places where you can find your podcast. So we appreciate you tuning in, and we'll have more content coming your way soon.